there is, and this what brought me to Cambridge in the first place. When I first visited some 15 years ago, there is an enormous collection of medieval Hebrew and other language that was brought to Cambridge at the end of the 19th century from old Cairo, from Fustat. There was a big Jewish community in the Middle Ages, roughly from the 10th to the 13th centuries. And according to Jewish law, you're not allowed to throw away holy writings. That is, if you have a copy, for example, of the Old Testament, what is called in Hebrew? No, you're not allowed because it's like sacred writing. So so if the manuscript is damaged, you're not supposed to just throw it into the rubbish. You have to store it. So there's a special term, a special room, as it were, called the Guenizá.
Guenizá.
The Semitic word ganaz is to hide or to put away in a safe place. So, and this was common throughout, any place where a Jew lived. And some observe this until this day, that you don't throw away like scriptures. But for some unknown reason, this community in Fustat, in old Cairo, decided to keep everything that was written in Hebrew script. That is, if someone went to the market
and just wrote
items to buy,
wow. They kept it. Yeah.
So it became a trove, like a window to look at medieval society like in no other place. And they're like,
wow, because the others were
hundreds, thousands of items again from those market lists and to philosophy and to many things. And because the Jews in this area and this era wrote and spoke Arabic, of course, because they were part of the bigger Arabic and Muslim culture, although as a minority group, but they were part. So they actually invented a new language called Judeo-Arabic.
Judeo-Arabic,
which means it's a sort of a dialect of Arabic, but in terms of writing, they wrote it in Hebrew characters.
Wow, Hebrew is so complex to the untrained eye. When you see it, it's like
but it's not Hebrew. It's Arabic.
That's Arabic.
Yeah, and I mean
this you're talking.
Yeah. No, it's called Judeo-Arabic because it's Arabic, but it's written in Hebrew characters or
Hebrew characters.
No,
I see.
But other people might know it from
the alphabet.
But from Yiddish, because Yiddish, another Jewish language, and they're like tens of Jewish. But this is the language that Jewish communities in Europe in the Middle Ages and the early and the modern ages use Yiddish.
Do you know how to read this?
Yes. So again, Yiddish is sort of, now all my Yiddishist friends, linguist will kill me, but it's a sort of a dialect of German. I mean, it started as a dialect. It became to be a separate language because it was influenced also by Slavic languages and by Hebrew. But anyway, again, this is written in Hebrew characters from right to left, of course. The other way around. But it's German. So for example, Yiddish is another example. But the Guenizá, this place in Fustat also holds the oldest Yiddish fragment. Now, this is mind-blowing. Why would a community, medieval community in Fustat will have something in Yiddish? Because and the answer is that there were like merchants that went from Europe. They went to Egypt to buy, I don't know, spices, to buy, I don't know what. So the mother of this merchant sent him a letter.
Wow.
Telling me, do this and that, and take out a sweatshirt when you go out when it's
I miss you, blah, 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 take care.
And of course she wrote in Yiddish to him. Now the people
someone took the letter.
Well, they couldn't read it probably, But they saw it's Hebrew letters. Okay, so if it's Hebrew letters, we put it away in the Guenizá. We store it.
Because that's what they were about.
Yes, and then there's also another mind-blowing story. So here in Cambridge, but it's about Cambridge. So
Cambridge has.
So I'll tell you the story. Even the story, but it also goes back that there's no coincidence.
Okay.
There was a Hebraist professor in Cambridge in the 19th century. His name was Solomon Schechter, and he was a professor of Hebrew here in Cambridge. And Schechter was studying a composition from the early centuries before the Common Era. That is. Called the Book of Ben Sira. It's a wisdom book. It was also only preserved in Greek by the church. That is, there were like books that were written originally in Hebrew or in Aramaic, but didn't become part of the Old Testament, but they did become part of the Christian canon. And there's the Book of Ben Sira. It's a wisdom book. And it was only mainly preserved in Greek, also in Coptic. Wisdom book. And Schechter, which was a linguist as well and philologist, he claimed that the original language of the Book of Ben Sira was Hebrew. Now you can tell it because you consider the Greek is not.
Okay. There's hints.
Yeah, the linguistic hints and other historical hints. So he claimed that it was originally written in Hebrew. He had no proof whatsoever, and his theory wasn't accepted.
One found the original?
No, but so people told this is just an hypothesis, and you're wrong. Okay. One day, 1896 or something like that, two Scottish ladies knock on his door.
Oh, man. They found.
And they told him, but Professor Schechter, hello, I can't remember their names. There were like two Scottish sisters who went to holidays in Cairo. And they told him, we went there to the marketplace and someone was selling manuscript, and he told us this is a very old manuscript. And we bought it because it was very beautiful, but we cannot read. We don't even know in what language is it? Is it Arabic? Is it Hebrew? Is it Gez? Is it Coptic? We don't know. But we were told that you would know. So they hand him over this manuscript. Well, it was Hebrew, and he's looking.
He was Hebrew.
And it was like fainting. I mean, because they brought him the proof.
Original,
that was
confirmed the theory.
That was a copy of the lost Ben Sira in Hebrew.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Jeez. Yeah, how are these pieces found?
Devoting his life to that, and then all of a sudden they come. So the next thing he did,
I dream with someone finding ancient Greek philosophy. Imagine someone proving that Socrates actually wrote a lot extensively. Imagine that.
Yeah. So it's
a lot is lost. I mean, most is lost. Aristotle, right?
Right.
Aristotle,
the poetics.
The poetics. We lost the comedy.
This is but this is even these are when I was teaching the aesthetics and philosophy of poetry.
I told the students, I teach aesthetics as well.
No, I told them, the poetics of Aristotle that we read. It's not what he didn't write it. These are the notes that the student take, and I would tell them now. Let's think if I take your notes of what I'm saying, who knows?
Yeah, how far are we from the actual? I felt it as well. And actually, there's a phrase from Cicero, the Roman poet, that says that if Plato's writings were silver, Aristotle's writing were rivers and rivers of gold.
Exactly.
Imagine that, man.
But so the next thing that Solomon Schechter did was to go to someone in the university, and then they sent a delegation to Cairo. And they went to the market, and they asked this merchant in the market, where did you get this manuscript from?
How did you get
so he said, in the old part of Cairo, there is this building that used to be a synagogue, and it has an attic, and we are very afraid to go inside because there are like demons inside.
Oh, wow.
But so what we do is we climb the ladder, put our hand, pull the manuscript, and run away.
They really believed in the demons and
Well, this is where the Apollyon side comes. So the Cambridge University was a bit less
Afraid.
less reluctant of demons. So they went to this synagogue, climbed ladder, and simply took everything out. They sent hundreds of boxes back here to the Cambridge University Library, and it's still here.
Still here.
Yeah, and some 70% of these materials are poetry.
70%.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of my work at the first stages entailed, and then we discovered tens of new poets that we never. Sometimes we knew that they existed, but there was nothing of them. So it's like opened a new world, and then part of my work.
When did this happen? In what year, approx?
Which one?
This the Cambridge discovery.
It's 1896.
Okay, 1896. Yeah.
I think that's the year that those sister
and that changed the field forever. Yeah, it opened the field.
Yeah. Every not only of literature, but also of history and many other. Many other parts. And if I can recommend, I mean, I didn't write the book, but there is a beautiful book about the discovery and about the collection called Holy Trash.
Holy Trash.
Yeah.
Because you find the rubbish.
This was written by Peter Cole. Huh? He's also a translator of medieval poetry called Sacred Trash. On the cover of the book, there's a famous picture of Salman Schechter sits in his room here in Cambridge. All around him, all those boxes, and he sits on this very, very big table with hundreds of manuscripts, and he's like looking like, where to begin.
Where to begin. Tell me a bit about language. Okay, let's talk a bit about language and philosophy of language. I've heard the phrase, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've thought about it a lot of times, that we are as many persons as languages we speak. So I see you speak many languages. How does that play on who you are as a person?
It's an excellent question, because the first time that I got a real sense of that was in 2006 when I went to Brown University Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Yes,
Rhode Island.
To do my postdoctoral, and I went there to work with Professor Susan Harvey, who is a world expert on Syriac poetry. Syriac, we throw another language to that. So Syriac is Aramaic, and Aramaic is a part of the Semitic languages, and Syriac poetry was the language used by churches, early churches in the Near East.
Wait, do you know how many languages you speak?
Well, I don't speak Syriac. That's not really
I mean, because you've said so many to me already. I've lost count.
There are some monks in Jerusalem, actually. In the Syrian monastery, there's an orphanage, and according to the legend, the kids in this orphanage they're native speaker of Syriac.
But only.
Yes, I mean, it used to be, well, it's part of Aramaic, and Aramaic is still spoken in northern parts of Iraq, and I mean, that was the official. Yeah, that was the official language of the Babylonian Empire back in the day. This is the language that Jesus, for example, spoke.
Yeah, I remember some of this.
Yeah, so Syriac is a special variety of Aramaic, and I went there because I wanted to compare the Hebrew poetry of the late antique period to the Syriac poetry, also to Greek poetry. But I want to go to back to your question. So I spent this year at Brown University. Was the first year that I English became my language on a day-to-day basis. And after a couple, my English is decent.
It's good.
But thank you. But could be better, like always.
I don't believe in
me
ideals or perfection. I believe in action.
Okay,
yes,
very good. So this is why we found ourselves together.
That's true. That's true.
And then, after having spoken English a lot, and also about personal things, but academics, it's in a way it's sterile. So it's okay, but speaking to people about beliefs and thoughts and feelings, I really felt that it's a different Ophir that it's speaking. That when I'm speaking in English, or later in German or in Spanish that I do speak, it's not the same Ophir.
The same fear?
No, it's not the same Ophir.
Ophir.
No, it's not the same me. It's a different
not the
me.
same you.
That is, it is.
Okay.
There is a unity, but it's it probably goes back to what we said before. So language is not only about the message. In theory, it's only conveying a message, but even in the same language, I can say the same sentence with the same lexical content, but I can say it in one tone or in other tone, and of course there are like figures of speech like irony. So I can say the same thing but mean the opposite thing, for example, or metaphors. So the language is and
many layers and nuances and
right. So if we compare it to let's say painting. Okay, you can paint a house, but you can paint it with these colors or other colors or in a cubistic style or in impressionistic style. So it's always a house. Let's also go back right to the Platonic idea. So it's okay. I'm saying the same thing. Let's say if we were holding this interview in Spanish now, I will try to say the same things.
It will come different.
It will come different, but again, not only in terms of content. So I personally, but it's about my feeling, and when I speak in different language, I feel that it's a different iteration of myself. It's the same self. I'm not. It's not a different self.
Still you.
Yes, but it feels that's my point. It feels different.
Flavor. I cannot, flavor of a feel.
If it was an experiment, we should talk to several people to whom I talk in different languages, and then ask them, okay, who is Ophir? And probably they will say similar thing, but my native language is Hebrew. This connection to the language is something that, of course, I don't have in any other language.
The connection you have to your
yes, I think this is a basic. It's a basic thing about the language that you grew up with. Yeah, the first one. Now it's true that some people. So I, for example, interviewed for this podcast, and I will tell you in a second more about it. Someone who actually claimed that she's a writer.
She claims,
and she published in Hebrew, but she claims that she actually doesn't have any mother tongue because she lived for 10 years in Russia, 10 years in Israel, and now 30 years in the UK. And she claims that she doesn't have a mother tongue.
But where she was born, the first time?
Yeah, no, the first time, yeah, she was but she said that it's not, and she spoke Russian. It's not that she grew up in Russia and spoke something else.
Okay.
Well, it's also, again, but you see, it's also a matter of identity. It's not a linguistic answer, but my podcast, and I think that's...
it's a statement.
It's a statement because I got to Cambridge almost a year ago. And I came here from Jerusalem, and I felt that Hebrew, in a way, has to be liberated from its Israeli context.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and liberated because the Israeli context is so problematic and in many ways unbearable.
Yeah.
Now, this is not a podcast about politics.
Yeah, it's not.
But and I'm not interested about talking about politics. I'm interested in saying that, and that's the major impetus behind me. I felt that I need to do something actively in order, again...
I'm interested in listening to you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
great.
That is a big thing.
Because for me, as a scholar of late antique and medieval Hebrew literature, and under literature, let's put everything that is written in Hebrew, from poetry, prose, religious law, magic, mysticism, everything. Everything
which is part of human
culture.
Human culture. Yeah, it's a patrimonio mundial.
Sí, exacto.
So there's the secret knowledge aspect of knowledge, right? I've always been fascinated by this. Like, and then there's the concept called epistemic injustice. Like, which knowledges are better or
Right.
worse or more valid, and which languages are better or worse or not.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this.